All right, Don. Jurassic Park franchise. What do you think? Is it one of your favorites?
It's the movie or franchise that gave paleontology a name.
Well,
Again,
all I know is, it came out when I was 13, the first one. Um, and I was hooked. A buddy of mine, Jonathan Beadle, shout out, he introduced me to it. Like, he had read the book and stuff like that and told me about it. And I was like, man, that's kind of neat. Like a theme park with dinosaurs. So I didn't get a chance to read the book, and then the movie came out because he had told me, the movie's coming out, whatever. And I think I went watch it with him, and then I just fell in love. You're 13 years old. You're seeing. The special effects they still hold up to this day, 26 years later, and I was blown away by it. And ever since then, it's been one of my favorite movies, like, of all time. I don't know if it's one of the best movies of all time, but it's up there. I really think it's got to be one of the better science fiction movies ever made.
by far, yeah. To me, it would be in the top 10 to 20. Even if you remove the fact that it was groundbreaking effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the movie that, my Star Wars reference, but this is the movie that got George Lucas to say, for love him or hate him, he said, technology has finally arrived. I can make my
do the prequels.
Because he wanted that droid army and he didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
CGI for it. And then when you watch really how it came about, because originally with Jurassic Park, from what I recall, when I saw some behind the scenes things online, they were considering stop motion for it.
Yes, they were.
Which would have been
read that.
Probably,
terrible.
Yeah, I can't even fathom that.
Alien
movie.
3.
Yeah, it would have. It would have been Alien 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget who got involved with it, but somebody knew someone that was starting early,
And they showed Spielberg, said, "Hey, look what we can do."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how it kind of it evolved, into what we saw was the groundbreaking CGI, with it. So anyway, top 20, and that's aside from the fact it's just a fabulous movie.
Yeah, so after I saw the movie, right, and I fell in love with it, then I read the book. So I was, 14, 15 years old at the oldest the first time I read it. It made sense, but then I read it again as an adult, and I love them both. The book is fabulous, and the movie's fabulous, but they're very different.
Mm-hmm.
And what the book does, Michael Crichton is very smart. That dude's he was pretty much a genius almost. Mm-hmm. And he went in way more into the science of how it would be possible, or, in the book it's possible, to clone a dinosaur, right? So he lists references of real studies,
mm-hmm.
of real things that are going on, because they're still trying to clone. Or I think they do, don't they?
They're
like
working
sheep
on
and
it.
stuff. They've cloned sheep.
They've cloned sheep. They're
Right.
working on cloning a mammoth,
Mm-hmm.
a saber cat, and there is another. It's mammals right now using a current mammal.
Because they're close
carry.
to what is
Yeah, they're
right.
trying to get them to carry it to term,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the size of the actual prehistoric mammal is too big for anything almost to carry to term. With the elephants, they ran into that issue with the woolly mammoth.
But getting back to, so that's what makes the book good. But what Steven Spielberg did was he simplified it for screen, right? Obviously, you can't put all that stuff in a movie. It would be boring. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
long.
He doesn't have pacing with it.
So what did he, his little cartoon to make a baby dinosaur?
Yep.
He simplified probably, 200 pages of the book into that little cartoon so the audience can understand what's going on,
Right.
So it was really, and I didn't quite get that when I was younger, but as I'm older, I was like, that's why that exists in the movie, is to simplify the science that is in the book. So
how you make all that boring jargon
right, interesting for people to watch, or because most people,
no,
let's face it, the majority of people don't read, so they're not going to read the book. Most people, they want to watch the movie,
right?
And he had to, make it for screen, and he did a great job. The acting, I mean, Jeff Goldblum was just, he probably stole the show, right?
He really did. He
Yeah.
was my favorite, character. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And just as a person, kind
Mhm.
of, when you just see him do anything, he does it his way. It's very
Right.
unique. It's just kind of
Nobody
cool.
can deliver it that way.
You can't reproduce.
Mhm.
You cannot copy Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum.
He made Ian
Absolutely.
Malcolm come to life, that's
He
for sure.
really did.
Yeah.
And that really, and then Laura Dern's character was great, and it's Laura Dern,
Mhm.
Bruce Dern's daughter. Excellent actress, outside of The Last Jedi, which was not her fault, which was written that way. Anyway, back, and then
Can't help it.
I can't help it. I just can't help it. That discussion video will come.
It will come eventually.
Sam,
It might be a series of videos.
Yeah, it's gonna be a multi-part. Sam Neill.
hmm
I mean,
Dr. Grant, I mean.
thank Dr. Grant, and the whole story, it was all fresh too. For
Even the
everybody.
kids were great.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. It was just
Well,
Frasier
that's what they say. That movie is like lightning in a bottle. It'll never be.
was like Predator.
Yeah,
You
Predator,
can't recreate-
Ghostbusters,
yeah.
things like that. You'll never get that again.
You just
you
can't
know?
reproduce that.
No.
Not Frasier, but Seinfeld actor who had the
Oh
canister.
yeah.
Yeah, what was his name?
Dennis Nedry.
Dennis Nedry. What's his? But I have to know the
man.
Seinfeld name. I'm sure we'll get a little pop-up box with that later on.
Not Newman.
Newman. It's Newman. I mean, it's Newman. Newman's in Jurassic Park doing his thing. Oh, and Sam Jackson.
Samuel Jackson.
Come
Hold
on.
on to your butts, which is not in the book, by the way.
Oh, yep. B.D. Wong, which not many people knew at the time, but he became something great and well known for was Law
I
and
remember
Order.
thinking, oh, that's the guy in Father of the Bride.
Yeah. So Lightning in the Bottle is a good description of it. It's like even though it's a franchise, I mean,
They've never been able.
they just
can't.
don't even
They
come
won't be able
close.
to.
Yeah, they really don't. The rest of the movies are either awful or entertainment. That first one was really in fact, 1.35 movies or 1.5 movies are really good. Like Lost World, I'm skipping ahead just a second, ties so good with that, and it's so strong the first half. But so that first movie is you can't reproduce it, you know, and the fear factor involved with it, the newness of everything at the time,
And it's almost perfect. I mean, it's typical Steven Spielberg where he has some continuity issues. Like I remember the scene where the one where Samuel Jackson's trying to figure out what Nedry did, and he's typing like access main security grid or whatever, and everything he's saying is not what he's typing.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know how he missed that, but like every line that he said was completely wrong as to what he was like. It didn't match what he was typing. And then when Laura Dern is running, she was with Robert Muldoon, and he said, "We're being hunted by the raptors." He's like, "We can't."
Well, that's the game.
And he
hunter.
tells her,
Yeah.
and he tells her to run. And there's this one shot where she jumps over a tree, and it like he cuts to another, and then he cuts right back to. So he used the same shot twice in that one little. And I've seen that probably in other Steven Spielberg movies. I would imagine he's got other continuity issues there because that's too blatant. I mean, I don't know. So it would be a perfect movie if he wouldn't have screwed up a couple of things. But
Yeah.
anyway, so moving on to The Lost World.
What was the rating on it?
Oh!
We have the ratings. I'm
We
curious.
do have the ratings. The Tomatoes is 92 and the audience score is 91.
Oh,
That's low. It's low. I think it should be like 95.
Oh yeah, that's like it should be Star Wars. It's Empire Strikes Back or New Hope level.
Yeah,
Again, back with the Star Wars.
I'm not quite sure why it's even that low, but
That's a 95, 94, 94, 95. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's too low for that movie.
too low. So 4 years later, The Lost World comes out, and Steven Spielberg, I just watched it again a couple nights ago. First hour and like 35 minutes, I looked at the timer. It's something like that. It was really good. It was tense. I mean, the special effects were, for the most part, awesome. I mean, there was a couple of scenes that, like whenever you first meet Sarah Harding, what was it, Julianne Moore? You first meet her and she runs into...
Very fond of her.
Yeah, they're taking pictures of the dinosaurs and she's... that looks kind of hokey. But
and Wedding Crashers in there. Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn,
A very young Vince Vaughn.
yeah. The guy that played Eddie was good. The little
Mhm.
bald guy, I feel sorry for Eddie, man.
Oh, poor
He worked
Eddie.
so hard to save him, and then
And he's a well-known actor too. He was in
I
a
can't
lot
remember
of
his
stuff, man. And then the British hunter, the big game hunter in
Yes,
this one,
he recently died of cancer.
and he was on Aliens 3.
Yep, he was one of the
inmates.
prisoners.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't remember his name, but he's fabulous.
Mhm.
So the movie was pretty strong up until that point, and that point is, the girl with the gymnastics, Ian Malcolm's daughter. And after that, it just gets really silly, because before you have all the dinosaur encounters are good. You have the two T-Rexes that attack them in the trailer
Mhm.
because they have the baby.
Mhm.
They're trying to help the baby, and the two T-Rexes go back for it. Eddie tries to save him, all that stuff. Great scene.
Mhm.
You have, after they, the group, so I guess, I don't remember which one was before. Maybe this was before the two T-Rex scenes, but when Vince Vaughn sabotages all the
Yeah,
cages.
he's eco-terrorist. Yeah,
So-
yeah, he clips all the cages.
Yeah,
lets them loose.
but I mean, that scene was really good. And had the T-Rex sticking his face in the tent and all that stuff.
Yeah, the walk-in meat market, or what is it?
Yeah,
Let's get this
this
walk-in
walking
buffet,
buffet.
which
So-
is true.
Then the raptor scene with the grass. Don't go in the tall grass.
Oh my! The raptor scene in the grass was awesome.
And you see
especially
him
when it
coming
first
from
came
all
out.
the different
The
directions.
tails pop up,
Mhm.
and you see rattling. Yeah,
And they're
that's-
jumping, and it's dark, and you just see the flash. The flashlight lights up the dinosaur, so it started off really good.
and here's the formula when things go bad: you take the dinosaurs off the island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she had her little acrobatic gymnastic kick thing, which if they'd have stayed on the island, would have.
And then if the movie would have kind of ended there,
yeah,
like
yeah.
if that was one of the last things,
Okay, I'll take that.
Right.
I'll take that. But
my suspension of disbelief will be fine. But then it just
yeah.
John Favreau did. Like John Favreau couldn't help but put Boba Fett in Mandalorian.
Oh, don't. I was
Steven
waiting
Spielberg
for you to
couldn't
go
help.
there.
Couldn't help but putting dinosaurs in the city.
And I guess, and in John Favreau's defense, John Favreau was a Boba Fett fan. Yet another discussion for another day. But for some reason, Spielberg, when I watched it, there was a reference. I don't know if it's Kennedy that made the reference or Spielberg did in the behind-the-scenes stuff, that they wanted to do kind of a King Kong thing, where he was in the city. Kong is in the city, and I'm just
then make
like,
a King Kong movie.
Thank you. I'm just like, why?
Now I do know that Spielberg coerced Crichton into writing the second novel, because there was going to be no sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But Spielberg talked him into it, and production on the movie started before the novel even published. And spoiler alert about the book. If you don't care, then keep watching. But Ian Malcolm dies in the book. Okay?
Right, I think you had told me that. Yeah.
But then he's the main character in the second one, so he didn't die. So he brought him back to life for The Lost World, and I think that's because Steven Spielberg wanted him to be the main character in the second because he was a fan favorite.
Right. It's what's his name again? Not Ian Malcolm, but his real name.
Goldblum.
It's Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
It's right.
And he was hot in the
Fly?
mid to to late 80s and early 90s. I mean, Jeff Goldblum was
on fire.
And in this, the first Jurassic Park, he was on fire. So, yeah. But unfortunately, now the novel ended up being really good. Really good. Damn near as good as the first one. Yeah. And in the movie, just,
Well, yeah, it was downhill after that. It's Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's T-Rex up in, where was that, L.A. or wherever. And it's just, okay, whatever. It's downhill. So that movie is, for me, it's like a double-edged sword. It's fantastic,
right.
The first half, and then the last act is just awful because it's in the city and I could care less.
Mm-hmm. And that one has a critic score of 53% and audience of 51%. Now that's...
I'll give it that, yeah.
That's probably accurate because...
it feels like a rough punch, but once you see the second act, that's a rough... Or whatever, the final act, that's a rough punch.
One thing I will give the first two, watching them on 4K and with DTS:X sound, the sound design is just excellent on both of them.
And And noted,
whoever Steven Spielberg had doing his sound mixing was fantastic.
and again, the soundtrack, the composer is
course.
John Williams.
Right.
So, I mean, that right there gives you, I mean, just something
Like
fantastic.
points.
It does.
You get extra points.
Because it's John Williams is iconic. We all grew up hearing those themes
Mm-hmm.
in some way or another, from Superman to NBC Nightly News.
Didn't he do Jaws?
He did Jaws,
Yeah.
Superman, NBC theme. I mean, his
Well,
list is
Star
massive.
Wars.
Star Wars. I mean, it's just massive, massive, massive.
Yeah.
So, and you recognize his themes. As a musician, there are similar phrases and themes that he uses throughout all of his work. He has his
His thumbprint
on everything. So that's points right there, like you said.
Yeah, so that's about it for The Lost World. Jurassic Park 3.
The Underdog.
Interesting movie, because I just watched that one the day after I watched The Lost World. I like it better than The Lost World.
I agree.
But it's funny
I was wondering if you were going to go that route.
Oh, yeah, I like it better. And it's funny how you get to this one, and it's so similar to Alien 3 that it's kind of spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Studio interference, questionable special effects. Some scenes were well done, and other scenes were like really bad.
Yeah.
The parachute at the very beginning, the parasailing scene, it's obvious they're just in front of a green screen. Like, it's pretty bad.
It's bad.
Now it is, if you watch the 4K disc, they've cleaned it up and it looks better.
Good.
Because on the Blu-ray it looks horrible.
Good.
On the 4K it looks bad, not horrible. Like, bad is not as bad as horrible.
Well, I mean, it passes.
So it's better.
Yeah.
Some of the dinosaur, like the animatronic, what we were talking about earlier, the Spinosaurus,
Yeah,
right? That's the big dinosaur.
Right.
In this one, they had to put something new, I guess, to
Had to have a new big
we gotta have a
baddie.
new baddie. So we got the Spinosaurus. The animatronic on that one looked kind of bad to me.
Yeah, and when you watch the behind the scenes, it's a full-fledged
And it's
half
the
of a
big. It was the
dinosaur.
biggest one ever made.
Yeah,
at the
it's
time.
huge.
Yeah.
And it's cool to watch the behind the scenes footage. And they show the scene where the plane is ripped in half and the dinosaur comes out and they use it's animatronic. But yeah, it's not the best looking.
Yes.
With
The
it.
CGI of it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find the CGI terrible in this one. I mean, it wasn't on par with 1 and 2, but it had a smaller budget, and everything else. So
It's the underdog.
It's the underdog.
And it does a good job as an underdog. It's got William H. Macy as one of the actors.
Téa Leoni.
Yep.
And then all the other guys, I don't know their names. The little redhead guy who was from the Green Mile.
Oh, what is his name? He passed away.
He had the
died of
mouse in
AIDS.
the Green Mile, right?
Yeah. He was a famous actor. He was on a CBS show
He was
with
on
Burt
Deadwood.
Reynolds for a while.
I think
He was on Deadwood.
I think so.
He had been in that.
No, I'm thinking of Open Range. He's in Open Range.
Open Range.
Yeah.
Well, he did a thing with Burt Reynolds had a comedy on CBS back in the '90s, and he was a regular on that one. I forget the name of it right now. It was kind
That's
of
ringing a bell.
Yeah,
It's ringing a bell.
so he's in there, and then who else? Of course, Sam Neill. So the torch gets passed each movie. So the first movie was the big three with Neil, Dern, and Goldblum. The second one was Goldblum, and the third one is passed to Sam Neill with kind of a cameo with Dern in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a cameo with her in it.
Yeah, they married her off and everything.
Yeah,
It's one of those things, she probably didn't have time to film the whole movie.
probably.
So she's like,
yeah.
look, I got a few days. I can shoot a little something. And they had to...
And it's kind of the
Okay,
full scene. She's
she's
got a
married.
family. She's married.
But it looks like 1 or 2, days of work.
Oh yeah, they just
and
brought
that
her
was
in.
it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened there. That's the only thing that makes sense. She was too busy to do a full movie. So they had, okay, well, if you can give us a few days, we'll have a little side story. But we really want you in it. They got to advertise that Laura Dern's in it.
So the thing is, this was the experimental island, is what it was.
Well, it's Site B.
It's Site B.
Yeah, it's
what
Site
it is.
B.
So the
Correct.
first movie is Isla Sorna, right? Where the port
Isla
was.
Sorna.
Isla Sorna.
And Isla Nublar is Site B.
Site B. So Sorna is where the first 2 movies take place.
Right.
Because they got to go back to the park to get the dinosaurs?
No. The Lost World is Nublar. It's Site B.
Okay.
And in Jurassic Park 3 is Site B as well.
So the dinosaurs continued to reproduce.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
Right.
it was. And they were supposed to die off, and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Okay. But they reproduced in the second one because the baby T-Rex. I always thought the third one was the experimental thing with the Spinosaurus.
No. Well, they just didn't know that's what that they did say it because I just watched it. They said, "Oh, he must have been doing something that nobody knew." So basically, they were making other dinosaurs that they didn't advertise. They were working on type thing.
Well, and this introduces pterodactyls
Dude,
into it. Bird
that
cage.
scene when the pterodactyl comes out of the fog on the bridge, to me, that was the coolest scene in the whole movie.
It pretty much was. It was great. It's a great scene.
Like, that's awesome.
And the whole sequence is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The whole sequence that develops from it. The whole thing, they're being basically stalked this whole time by the Spinosaurus on the island is pretty interesting. And then at the same time, there's the egg that he got from the Velociraptors, and they're actually tracking him too.
The Billy, his friend Billy took those 2 eggs or whatever, and then the only one of the complaints I have is Grant was really hard on Billy when he saw he had the eggs. He's like, "You're no better than they are."
Yeah, it was
and like really put. It's like, man, I mean, golly, I mean, the dude made a mistake. Yeah, it was stupid, but I mean, to say that he's just as bad as this evil corporation. I mean, come on now. I mean, y'all are the whole reason Grant, agreed to go was because they're broke and they're about to shut down their whole operation. So they get talked into doing a flyover by the couple.
Yeah. But
it's a rescue mission.
Oh, it's that whole thing. Grant is duped
for the little boy.
Yeah,
he's duped. But to say that, man, you sold your soul for money. You said you would never go back, but then you go for money. He was trying to do the same thing,
to get money to finance the dig.
So I thought that was kind of
yeah. Well, college professors, and I was in college a long time, they're assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was just like I kind of a little PTSD, and that was kind of triggered it at that moment. I was like, yeah, I can remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I call this the underdog movie because to me it's
fun.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it's got good pacing.
Pacing's good.
Get right to it.
It's a very linear story.
The encounters with the dinosaurs are good.
Mm-hmm.
Tense. You kind of. I mean, there's not real character development. William H. Macy and Taya Leone end up being just a normal couple who are desperate and they're kind of funny. They got some funny little lines.
Going through a divorce.
So, I mean, it's whatever. But
it's not a deep movie.
No, not by any means. It's not a deep
movie. I wouldn't call it a popcorn movie, but it's very entertainable. And it's in the Jurassic Park franchise, and it does its job very good overall.
The ending is just the worst.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look,
G.I. Joe shows up
within hours. I'm sorry, the United States military does not mobilize that fast.
I mean,
they do not mobilize that fast and get anywhere that fast.
Warthogs are rolling up, aircraft carrier off the coast, choppers overhead.
It's almost like they're like, okay, we got to wrap this up. We got to.
Movie's over.
We got to shut it down.
And that's right at the end. So you'll just be like, what? But the whole rest of the movie, you'll be entertained.
Yeah, it's good.
It's better than Lost World, and we agree.
Not according to the audience. Well, Rotten Tomatoes is 49.
I give it 49.
And Lost World was 53. And then the audience is 36.
But didn't those same critics give The Last Jedi like a 91?
Probably so.
Yeah,
probably so.
Don't worry about the critic score.
Right. But the audience score is 36, which is way
They
too
were
low.
drunk when they watched it. It should, for me, it should be in the 60s, somewhere around there. It should be a 60-something-ish movie, nothing higher.
No. Mid to high 50s or low 60s.
It's not rotten.
No.
It's not rotten, and you should watch it. Whereas The Lost World, yeah. Okay.
So, Jurassic World 2015.
How long? What was the time? Part 3 was 2001. 14 years later.
Yeah. 14 years.
Yeah, which was your acting debut.
Yes, I am in the movie. So anybody would like an autograph, $10. I'm just joking.
I got to see him, and taken away to the airport where they filmed the airport scenes. I dropped him off. And I waited around, and I saw the bus they all got on. And guess who I saw at the front of the bus with the bus driver? Colin Trevorrow.
Oh, did you really?
I saw him at the front.
Well, I saw him because he was directing
the scene.
the scene where the couple is seeing off the two kids. It's the redheaded girl. What's her name? Man, I get put on the spot and I can't remember names for anything.
I understand.
But she's what's her name? Sister, Bryce Dallas Howard's sister in the movie, and then she's the mom of the two boys.
Oh yeah, she was in that werewolf movie too.
Yeah, she's in the new Halloween.
Yeah,
what's her name? Anyway, so that's the scene I was in. Right, I was in the airport scene in New Orleans.
International airport traveler.
And international airport traveler, no number assigned, and you can't see me. Wah, wah.
Could have seen out.
I remember going to the movie.
And I stopped each frame.
Well, I'm talking about in the theater. Yeah. I went and watched the movie in the theater with Jamie, and I was like, okay, this is it. And I'm looking, and then we didn't see me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe when the Blu-ray comes out, go frame by frame. Yeah, you can't see.
No. I kept looking for that. What was an orange shirt?
An orange shirt, orange long sleeve shirt. I intentionally wore something that would stand out.
Which maybe caused them to cut.
Maybe so. But it was like a burnt orange. It wasn't like a safety orange.
No, it was not. It wasn't in your face. Yeah. It was a very autumn, winter color kind of going on. Yeah.
But it was a fun experience. You know, it was 4 hours. I think we filmed. And it was like a 3-minute scene.
Did y'all get any food?
Yes, breakfast.
Oh.
You dropped me off and everything, and they took me to the back. Did all looked at my wardrobe, looked at my hair, did all that stuff, and then we got to go sit down and eat a little breakfast.
Tell me about maybe just 1 minute breakfast, and we can compare our movie food.
Oh yeah. That's right, because you were in the dirt.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the food was. I was so
was it scrumptious?
Focused. I don't remember. I just remember it was like a tent. It was outdoor tent.
I saw the tent.
And they just had tables and chairs lined up, and you got
buffet style.
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a bag of something or if we got plate. I just remember we sat down and ate.
Tell me, it wasn't a brown bag with a measly little sandwich about
I don't remember
4 inches and about.
I think it was like a little styrofoam plate
and a thin slice
of a little bit of maybe a little bit of eggs or something. Because I had to be there with like 7 in the morning, 6 or 7 in the morning, because we had to stay in the hotel.
Well, I know I dropped you.
And you dropped me off, so it was real early.
Yeah, ours was awful.
And I remember when we were done,
food.
I was calling you because a little after 12 we were done.
Yeah.
And
was I on Bourbon Street?
I was starving. I was hungry afterwards.
Yeah, we went to eat.
Yeah. So, but getting to the movie, it's probably my second favorite. In the if I had to rank them, it's probably number 2
for sure. Me. It's better than Jurassic Park 3, which was an underdog movie,
right?
And it's the second best in the franchise.
It's neat to see the park open. But in all actuality, if you think realistically, why would they even do it? Yeah, so many people have died from these dinosaurs.
Yeah, but a lot of times
in the different incidents.
And a new company bought them out.
Right, yeah. So everybody can do it better.
Actors in there and actresses. Bryce Dallas Howard, better known as Opie's daughter in real life, which is working on The Mandalorian, which is awesome. I'll just leave it like that for another video. And then, of course, Chris Pratt. And they do a great job in this movie.
Vincent D'Onofrio's in this. And he plays a good sleaze bag, like normal. Like normal, right?
He does well. I forget the Bollywood actor. Khan is his last name in, I think, real life.
The one who owns the park?
Yeah, the one who owns the park. Very good actor.
Oh, what's the little nerdy guy, too? He's wearing the Jurassic Park t-shirt.
Oh!
He works at the controls. He's in that show, New Girl.
Oh, who is that? I know.
But he was hilarious.
Yeah, he was kind of the comedic relief.
The comedy relief.
Yeah. Which you would think Chris Pratt would be, in which he does that a little bit.
He's got a few little lines.
He's the hero of the movie, and so it's just a great movie. The park is open. There's plenty of meat on the table, and things go left as as expected. And
but I think the park design was cool, where they have the you see them.
The petting zoo and stuff.
Well, they have the petting zoo, right? I forgot about that. But then there's the water, where it's kind of like going to see Shamu, but it's that whatever it is.
Melosaurus. I used to always want to be a paleontologist growing up. I forget its name, but yeah.
So it was neat to see that.
Yeah. Which continues on in the next movie, that particular dinosaur. Interesting.
They have like the monorail system, so it kind of resembles like Disney World.
And then that Geo ball.
The ball that you get to go basically ride alongside all the dinosaurs. So the design of the park was neat. I guess that's why I like it so much.
And the big baddie in this one is called an
Indominus Rex, which
that was a bit much.
To me that's the biggest problem. Okay, in real life, if there's a dinosaur park, would you not go because I've already seen a T-Rex before? I want to see something bigger and badder. No,
I'm good.
You would go back because it's freaking dinosaurs.
Yeah,
you get to see live dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So the premise that we need to up the ante and start creating and engineering new dinosaurs is just kind of silly. But it's a movie about a dinosaur theme park, so I guess you got to give it a little leeway.
Indominus Rex can camouflage itself and apparently go off infrared or its tracking thing. It can manipulate it so much because it regulates body temperature or whatever. And so it hits the fan when they go to. He tricks them in thinking he got out of his cage, and by doing that, he allows them to open the door so he can get out of his cage.
Right.
And so there you go. And then
you find out later that the reason he's so smart is because he's part raptor.
That's right. And the raptors are the geniuses apparently of the reptilian dinosaur species. And,
remember, because in part 3, Grant tells Ellie that they're smarter than primates.
Oh yeah.
Before he even goes to the island, he's like,
the whole thing was the vocalization. Right. That's why I made that call, that Velociraptor call with it. And so so it picks up kind of that theme with it, and it's a fantastic movie. All the dinosaurs stay on the island.
It's typical popcorn movie.
Well, yeah.
It's not fantastic in the Jurassic Park sense, but it's fantastic it's a great popcorn movie where it makes just enough sense that you don't roll your eyes and say that this is just ridiculous.
It's a good solid number 2.
Yeah,
I look at it as a solid number 2, and then we'll get the analysis afterwards. But and the critics, what they got, 71, 76?
71 and 78.
78.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It's definitely not lower than a 70.
No,
I wouldn't give it that. And I wouldn't give it like up in the 80s. Really, I wouldn't give it that. No, Little Boy was 92. Yeah.
Now, what I did like in this, how do we defeat it? Well, we need more teeth. So she's like, oh, the T-Rex. So it's like, hey, how do you defeat something like that? Well, you fight fire with fire. They go get a T-Rex to fight the damn thing.
Right.
So you get to see a good T-Rex battle.
And then the Meliosaurus ends up being the one that takes him out.
Right, that takes him out. But,
chomp and yank in the water.
But the T-Rex was, handling business, because I guess it's the fan favorite, right? Everybody wants to believe that Tyrannosaurus Rex was the baddest dinosaur ever.
Right.
When
in all actuality,
probably not.
Scavenger.
At one time he was.
Well,
At one time he was considered the baddest, but they've discovered so many more that are bigger and.
Well, and then his because he has the shortened limbs, and then large jaw, they pretty much deduced that he was more of a scavenger instead of an attack predator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That he basically fed on not leftovers, but he was the king of getting the leftovers. He wasn't really the attack guy.
Like he is in all of these.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing is that's what kind of came out of these, because that made dinosaurs. It brought it back to, like I said, brought paleontology back. It brought dinosaurs back to the forefront.
Well, I would say in 2021, they know more about dinosaurs than they did in 1993.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, before the release of Jurassic Park, it was discovered that raptors were full of feathers, like full of feathers.
Right. Birds. They're descendants of birds.
Right.
What they are.
So, but because everybody loves the looks of the raptors in the movies, they never put the feathers on them because it takes away how awesome they are.
Well, they're pretty much theorizing that most dinosaurs were actually like the bird, like they were the birds.
Mm-hmm. Like what Grant believes is like a true theory.
Yeah. And so the Fallen Kingdom, but the Jurassic World was a good movie. It's good to watch. It's entertaining. Mm-hmm. It gets you. They stay on the island, which I keep harping on that, but that's a big thing for this. Because every time you go off island in this franchise, it goes back downhill with it, which leads to the next movie.
Jeez.
which is really downhill.
Yeah,
You know.
so we went over those. Critic score 71, audience 78, which seems about right.
Yeah,
You'd say the critics
give
would
or
slam
take,
it
yeah.
a little bit, but the audience would like it because it's entertaining.
Right.
So then we go to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And I watched this last night, and I haven't seen it all the way through, I think, since the theater. I think I've watched bits and pieces of it, but whew, it's pretty terrible.
What I remind you of, I was like, won't once they get off the island, which happens early on.
Yeah. You know,
unfortunately.
well, but even before you get to that, the idea, other than the rich people wanting to go get the dinosaurs, makes way more sense than people feeling sorry for the dinosaurs and wanting to go get them and take them off the island.
Yeah, so the premise with
Like,
this
why?
one is
Even if you love animals, right? We know we can't survive with dinosaurs.
there's a mass. The thing is, so the deal is there's a mass extinction event. A volcano on the island is erupting. So I don't know yet again. Why would you build a park that was on a semi-active volcanic island?
They try to explain it
What
with
is
Jeff Goldblum when he says this is a correction. Basically, life finds a way, and nature
Right.
nature was saying, okay, they need to go, so we're going to erupt this volcano.
Did the first movie, Jurassic World, have any cameos from the original cast?
None.
So this one has Jeff Goldblum giving a speech before Congress or wherever about the thing, chaos and life.
So that's how they explain the volcano. It's like, okay, we got to have a volcano. That's the only thing that can threaten them, right? What can we do? Oh, we can bring Ian Malcolm in with his chaos theory and say, this is a correction. Mother Nature is saying the dinosaurs have to go. So that's what the volcano is, right?
And so,
which is weak. But if you want to go with his logic and how he thinks, I guess it's supposed to make sense, right?
And so life found a way off the island on a boat. So
these animal activists and Bryce Dallas Howard, they're gonna die. So they get duped into going by John Hammond's old partner,
right,
who you never heard of.
Sure. Yep.
His right-hand man who runs his business dealings.
Yep.
Is like, hey, we can make a lot of money selling these dinosaurs as what? Weapons. So they get duped by him saying, oh, it's a rescue operation. We're going to bring him to this sanctuary. When in all actuality, he just wants to go get them to sell them in a car auction.
That's what he does.
Right.
It's an auction under the mansion.
Under the mansion.
Yes.
In the fallout shelter.
Yes.
Dinosaurs.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, to be more precise.
The Indoraptor.
Thank you. The Indoraptor. The Indoraptor. Which
of course,
is
they had to make another one.
Yes. So there was an Indominus Rex. So the movie starts off pretty good.
It's a good opening scene.
Where they're going to get the DNA of Indominus Rex
at the bottom
the bottom of the Melosaurus, and I'm pronouncing it wrong, the Melosaurus pool, where the big Shamu show was. And so they go down and they extract the bone
rib,
marrow.
They cut the rib.
They cut the rib and
they take the piece, and then of course the T-Rex comes and attacks the helicopter. The
Melosaurus.
No, the T-Rex comes and first attacks him, and remember he's holding on to the ladder. It breaks, and then they think they're home free. Then the water, whatever, Shamu comes up and
does its thing,
right?
And then, so we'll get, and then there was a little scene to hint towards what would be coming next from this third movie, and kind of the theme with this one is the dinosaurs are out. Mm-hmm. So the auction goes left because the Indoraptor is a genius, and you've got this horror picture show going on with an Indoraptor up on top of the mansion, and you got dinosaurs coming out the basement, because that's what happens. And it's like the moon in the background, and it's kind of rainy, and then Old Blue comes to save the day,
right?
Which was one of the main raptors, was the main raptor from the first movie.
But don't forget, we skipped Jurassic a lot of stuff, but the main reason, or the main dinosaur they wanted was Blue.
Right.
And Blue had some type of tracking system built in because they were embedded, because she was
He
the
was
star of
the first one.
Right.
And Chris Pratt trained him from little.
So that's why they had to convince Chris Pratt
to go back on island.
so they can find Blue. And once he found Blue and started talking to her, that's when Billy Bob, the serial killer from Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
His name is Ted Levine.
Yes.
The actor. He, they shoot Blue, and one of them, and Blue ends up attacking when they end up actually shooting her with a real gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then and that's when the whole subplot of she's gonna die. So then the little Asian vet girl has to do a transfusion with the T-Rex and all of that stuff. So it's just
it gets crazy.
It's ridiculous.
This movie takes things up to a ridiculous level, and while I guess it's entertaining, it's just
it's funny you say that because I saw it in the theater and I remember thinking, typical excuse for a bad action movie is popcorn, and I remember thinking, okay, popcorn movie, but rewatching it, it's not even a popcorn movie.
Rough. It's eye roll.
It's
rough.
eye roll. Like, okay, this is so stupid I can't even enjoy it. This is F9. This is just ridiculousness. I don't even want to.
Cars in space.
I don't even think I'm ever gonna. I'll be honest. I don't think I'll watch it again.
I have.
Of course, Bryce Dallas Howard is smoking hot in it.
Well, that she is.
So that was the best part of this movie. Is Bryce Dallas Howard. The rest of it is just, it's pretty bad.
And then the end of the movie kind of takes you back to the beginning of the movie where those guys were extracting that rib. They went in, they had to open the lock gate doors of the ocean to get into that Shamu center for the Millosaurus. Well, they never closed.
No, they did. They closed it.
It was a crack. Did you remember seeing that?
The little girl lets him out. You don't remember the little... Okay, so...
No, I'm talking back at the pool on the island. Remember when they extract?
Oh, that's right. That's why it's in the ocean later. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, the Mellosaurus.
They show it's in the surf. They have people surfing and you see it.
Because that's what you want to see surfing.
Right. Right.
And so that's the whole thing with this movie. This movie, it's kind of like, I guess it was made perhaps with the third one in mind, as the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they had to figure out a way to get the dinosaurs out.
Because I think the third one, or at least what...
It might be better. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, when's it supposed to come out? Because it's done filming, huh?
I thought it was supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, I think that because of the coof, it's been postponed, but it was done filmed and everything. It was a wrap. But like that was the premise supposedly at the time for the third one was they're
now, let's not forget they also went left because they start, the guy, John Hammond's partner,
who we never heard of before.
Yeah, who we never heard of, cloned his daughter because she died in a car wreck.
I forgot all about that. Oh,
so the little girl thinks he's her grandpa, when in all actuality,
it's Attack of the Clones.
Right. So, why? That I don't understand. I guess they needed somebody sympathetic enough to press the button to let the dinosaurs out.
Right.
Because even though Bryce Dallas Howard, I keep saying her name because I don't remember her name in the movie, the reason... She was going to let him out, but then she thinks about it, and it's like, okay, I can't do it. We can't let these things out.
No, you can't.
And
I mean out in the subdivision.
Right.
Of rich people, because it's a mansion.
In California.
Yeah, in Cali. Yeah. So, yeah.
So they needed somebody stupid enough and sympathetic enough to let the freaking dinosaurs out to free roam and murder people.
Easy now.
And eat people.
You may get canceled for that statement.
For what?
Saying stupid.
Oh, whatever. That was dumb.
The clone people may cancel. It was yet another ridiculous thing in the movie. So they've cloned a human now. Full-fledged human cloning in the movie. So we've got cloned dinosaurs at this point. We've got cloned humans at this point. They're out in the subdivision, and it's not safe to go in the water. Yeah.
So what do you do with the third one? You have to kill them all.
I don't know what's going on. Because when I read the initial things online...
It's almost like Planet of the Apes.
It is kind of like that. It's
the dinosaurs going to take over like Planet of the Apes?
Well, I mean, and then how do you not win that battle? Because we're talking about Raptor jets and choppers and tanks and...
We should be able to defeat them.
It's not...
With military...
Battle. Yeah, with military might. It's not like we're fighting Godzilla. Mm-hmm. Who's shooting laser fire out of his breath.
But then it's going to be... The animal rights people are going to be...
Well, eating, hopefully. Nothing against animal rights. I have 2 dogs and fish. And
but I don't know. So it's going to be interesting what they do with that. But my sincere hope is that they stop.
Well, I thought they were. I thought this was a 3-3.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Third one
After
was it.
Jurassic World, whatever, I hope it's the last one.
Yeah, because this one was awful. So the scores, I'm looking at
47 and 48. And the only one that got worse was Jurassic Park 3. Got a better critic score of 49, but the audience score was 36, and this one had a 48, and I completely disagree.
Well, yeah.
So if I had to rank them, I'm going Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park 3, The Lost World, and then Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm in total 100% agreement with that ranking. Yeah, I am. And as far as a franchise score, on my end...
Oh, it's a C.
Yeah, well, I gave it a D. I gave it a D because I gave her eight. I'm being very hard on these. I gave the Alien franchise a C.
Right.
And if I gave the Alien franchise a
this
C,
can't be on par.
This is not
right. Yeah, because I gave Alien a B. This is a C for me because I like 3 out of 5 movies.
Yeah. Okay? Well, that's good. That's good.
So
yeah.
I can watch 3 out of 5 movies. That's above average,
That is.
So
and you can
I'll
watch 3 out of 5 movies on this, So what you need to do is watch the first one, then watch half of the second one, and reject it or stream to the next one, and then never watch the...
As soon as the girl knocks the raptor off,
out.
You can just turn the movie off because after that it's just trash.
Out. Yeah, it's garbage. So yeah, that's my thing for this one.
Yeah.
D. Now I'm not doing pluses and minuses, but if it would have been a D plus. But that's it. I'm not stretching it because Aliens got the C. This gets a D for me. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the third one is good, and then they're done. And the good news about the third one is, which I don't know,
but all the original cast,
all 3 of the original cast, and not just like little cameos. They're supposed to be
major players.
They're major players in it. And because this is going to wrap up their whole storyline, everybody's storyline. This is it for the if they do another one, I think it would be a reboot or something.
Well, Sam Neill is just so good as Grant because I think he's probably one of the main reasons why I like 3 as much as I do.
Well, Sam Neill's just good. Didn't you like him? And I loved him in this one. What was that movie with Lawrence Fishburne?
Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah, I liked Event Horizon. He's just.
You need to go straight to church afterwards.
You really do. It's very devilish. It's demonic. It's bad, like as far as evil goes. But as far as a movie, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting, yeah. Another one with studio interference.
Oh,
what's his name? Paul W.S. Anderson is the director. The one who did Alien vs. Predator, the first Alien vs. Predator.
Oh, which I
is the one who directed that. But there was a lot of studio interference with that movie where I don't know if they thought he was a little too nuts with the idea, because basically, well, while we're talking about Event Horizon, we'll talk about that another day.
Because it was way better than Fallen Kingdom.
Right. So, and by the way, this is first edition VHS. It's probably worth 50 cents. I bought it the day it came out with my allowance money. Bought it at Blockbuster Video. I went straight there, and instead of renting it, I said, I'm going to purchase this.
Blockbuster.
I was 13, 14 years old, used my allowance, and bought Jurassic Park.
For you kids who are watching, that was a place where they had movies.
And you would actually go in
and give currency and borrow their movie with that currency.
And then return it.
With 3 days.
Yep.
If not,
and you had to rewind the tape
currency.
first. If you didn't rewind the tape first, it was an extra charge.
That's correct. And they loved to do that.
Yep. If they had to put in that little rewinder for 30 seconds, it's extra charge.
Extra charge because you're using their time and money in that rewinder.
So, all right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. That was fun. Not as long as Alien.
But yet not.
But fun.
Not as interesting as Alien. But yeah. But yet need to be discussed because it's one of the great well-known franchises.
Yeah, it's one of the well-known franchises and one of the greatest movies. Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
It's definitely a top 10 overall movie for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that'll be it. Please give it a like and come back for our next discussion.